everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Janine Show. Please say hello. I'm so happy to have you all here today as we're allowing people to stream in. Hey, what are we talking about today? We've got some great topics, and as you know, it's a very interactive show. We're talking about dirty fasting. Do you know what that is? Yeah, I'm going to let you know what that is and how I like to do my intermittent fasting. Some tips and tricks how to do fasting and maximize your results, as well as immunity. And if you're getting sick all the time, it could be related back to something called leptin resistance, something that we've been talking about the last few weeks, as well as how do you know if your olive oil is fake? Yes, there is a lot of fake olive oil out there. I don't want you to be deceived, so that is something we'll be talking about today, and some of the key things to look for in a good olive oil. So I've got that list that I'll be sharing. We're also talking about adrenals. And did you know where your adrenal glands are? Yes, let me show you really quickly. So your adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys. We're going to be coming back to this and adrenal fatigue. So when you're stressed out all the time, this is going to have an effect on your hormones, your energy levels, your ability to lose or gain weight. We're talking about all those topics today. Please say hello. Nice to see you. I see that Sherry Ann is here. Good morning. Alice, nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody, let me know where you're from. Abir is from Kuwait. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, everyone. Murdell, Brown, Velasquez, E1 Carrillo. Nice to see you. Christy, thank you for sharing today's live. So please make sure, everybody, that you hit that share button 5, 10, 15 times. That would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you are always, of course, following, and you're subscribed as well, so that you're always in on the newest and latest information and the posts, of course, that I share on social media. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Janine, naturopathic doctor. We have a whole show ahead of us talking about natural ways to get healthier, and that's exactly what I do. Now, if you missed last week's episode, we talked about fertility, we talked about osteoporosis, and how those are linked back to that leptin resistance, which we're continuing that conversation about leptin today, as well as we talked about intermittent fasting. So hopefully everybody's making some changes. If you are someone who loves Ruiz, nice to see you. If you love your intermittent fasting and fasting, I've always got great tips and tricks as to what the research shows, how you can maximize your benefits with doing that fasting. Now, there will be quiz questions throughout the show, which is amazing. You have the ability to win a prize. So I look forward to seeing and saying hello to all of you. And if I miss your name, I'm so sorry. I can't always get everybody. Terry's here. Jill is here. Pac Fan, nice to see you from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nice to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in today. And Gloria is here from Illinois. Anton is here in Detroit, Michigan. R. Evans in Chicago. Nice to see you. And yes, we will be talking about adrenals. So I know LB has some experience there. Sally as well. Linda in Sweden. Nice to have you here. Thank you so much. And Rusty Cottrell. Hello. Jolo in India as well. Delaros in Dallas, Texas. Rusty is in Oklahoma. I didn't call that out. And Princess is in India as well. So thank you so much. Agni from India. Beverly from South Africa. We have London is in the house. Veer D. Suki, thank you for tuning in. Houston, Texas is here as well. Donna, thank you for tuning in. Samira in Sweden. Kosovo, 1 for 2 is here as well. And so many of you are here. CK from Dubai, hello, and thank you for tuning in. And Layla in Germany, guten Tag, guten Morgen. And it's not Guten Morgen, it's good afternoon in Germany right now. And Lay Batavani in Pakistan, I probably didn't say that correctly. Amina in Kenya, thank you so much. So many people here. Fort Worth, Texas is here. Lisa, thank you for tuning in. Okay, we ready to get started? Let's talk a little bit about olive oil, and how do you know if your olive oil is actually real or fake? Now, we will also be doing some great cheek boosting exercises coming up later in the beauty set, so please stay tuned for that. I'm super excited about this exercise. I've been doing it. Love it, love it, love it. And it really helps to shape your face in a very youthful way, which you're gonna love. Okay, now did you know that many olive oils are fake? And many of them are actually a combination of more than one source of oil, and it could be olive oil, it could be other types of oils as well. So they blend less expensive oils. They put olive oil on the label, but they're blending these other oils, which of course are much less expensive. So they're cutting their costs, raising their margins. Not a great thing in terms of when you're trying to do your best to ingest the best type of olive oil. And we know, and we've heard that extra virgin olive oil, first press, is definitely a higher standard when we talk about olive oil, but what they do is they'll mix some of a little bit of the EVOO with, of course, the other less expensive oils. And this is going to cut those costs. And what they can be doing, and if you see manufacturing behind me for olive oil, what they can be doing is actually using old olives, rancid, rotten olives, and of course they're inferior in quality. They're mixing that in with the EVOO, putting EVOO on the label, and that is a problem. And there could be flavor changes, so there could be a bitter taste, and it may not taste so great. So in that case, what they're doing with these less expensive oils is now they're adding perfumes and they're adding coloration into the olive oil, and they change the flavor profile so that, and then it can be sold as that olive oil. So you really need to be aware, and I've got some tips and tricks, things to look for in a good quality olive oil, and so that you won't be deceived any longer, because olive oil we know is super, super healthy, okay? So here is one little tip, is that it should be one source. When you're looking on your bottle, it should say that it's coming, let's say, this one from Greece. That's a great example. One source. It's not saying that it's coming from multiple countries. And it should say that country of origin, where exactly it's coming from, okay? So who loves their olive oil? Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please put a 1 in the comments or a thumbs up if you love your olive oil. I'd love to see that, because I know most of us, I think, have good olive oil. Yes, Ken, I'm going to go through some of the points of distinction, what we're looking for in a good quality olive oil. That's coming up in just a second. Hello. Thank you, Rahul, for tuning in. Real Estate Deanna, nice to see you. Yes, you love your olive oil. Jerry's here. Yes, you love your olive oil. Fantastic. Safrina, you love your olive oil. I see all those ones coming in. Thank you for those hearts coming in as well. I know a lot of you are very active throughout the lives, tapping your screen and hitting those likes, so thank you. I appreciate that. And it's so great to have you all here today. Okay, so when we talk about tips now for choosing that best olive oil, we are going to go through the list, and these are some of the things that I want you to look for. Okay, we're also going to be talking about intermittent fasting in a bit. I almost forgot, so that is coming up in a few moments, how to do intermittent fasting in the right way, because a lot of people, quite honestly, are doing intermittent fasting wrong. Okay, so we want to make sure that our olive oil is one source. Okay, so it's going to say that country of origin, it's coming from one place. Really, really important. Number 2, it is organic whenever you can. Always organic is going to have less of a pesticide residue, definitely healthier for you for your olive oil. Okay, number 3, it is the extra virgin olive oil. So that first press, so that it's not sitting around, it's very fresh, very, very important, okay? Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Jerry. I see that. Thank you. I know a lot of you are sharing, so please hit that share button. And of course, if you're new here for the first time, welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Janine. It's so great to have you all here. And make sure that you're subscribed and that you're following, so that you always can tune in on Tuesdays for the live show. Okay, number 4, what else are we looking for in an olive oil? It tastes fresh. Yes, so that taste, that flavor, if you've ever tried different olive oils before, they have these olive oil bars that you can kind of go, and it's like wine tasting, but you do it for olive oil. It's amazing. The flavor profile is very different for different, sources of your olive oil. So make sure that you're checking that out and you like the taste, and it should taste very fresh. Next on the list, of course, number 5, coming in a glass bottle. I hate to see olive oil in a plastic bottle. As you know, plastics, microplastics, not the healthiest thing. Endocrine disruptors will mess up our hormones. So try to get it in a glass bottle whenever you can, okay? So screenshot this list if you have the ability to do that really quickly. We're gonna continue the conversation about leptin resistance. So if you missed the last couple of weeks, leptin resistance, we'll do a quick review what that is. Put a 2 in the comments if everybody's on board, you know what leptin resistance is. Now I'm going to see my true followers who have been here for a while. Thank you, Ella, for the follow. Hi, thank you for sharing today's live. So great to have you here. I'm not sure if you're here for the first time. I know a lot of you are, because I see all those new followers coming in. So Paula, yes. Jerry, you know what. Delaross, Kimmy, you know exactly. Safrina knows exactly. Leanne knows what leptin resistance. Sheila knows what leptin's. Okay, Frozen's Matt, Nadia, Bezeeb, Suzette. Okay, this is a review for a lot of you who have been here for a few weeks and you know my content, but for a lot of you who are new, you don't know what leptin resistance is, and this is what we talked about. Maybe, can I have let me grab Mr. Fat really quickly. So often when we talk about being able to gain or lose weight and body composition, this is where getting our leptin signaling in order is very, very important in terms of our overall hormonal health. If we've got chronic inflammation, we have fertility issues, which we talked about last week. This is something that we definitely have to get under control, is our leptin signaling. And this is leptin resistance is very, very common, usually a precursor to insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. So this is important. We talked a little bit about that last week. So if you missed last week's show, make sure that you find it, the long form video. You can find it. You can watch last week's show. But when we talk about immunity now, because a lot of people's immune systems are challenged, especially this time of year, depending on where you live, that this has an effect on our immunity. And when we look at our macrophages, so part of our immune system, we have in terms of our cell signaling, we've got these macrophages, and what they do, and it's a type of white blood cell, what they do is they signal, so they secrete cytokines. You can see that cytokine. So TNF alpha is a cytokine that's secreted by our cells in the immune system, and what it does, it's like a signaling molecule. It's going to tell the immune system that we have a problem. It's like, hey guys, we've got a problem. We need to stimulate more immunity. And this is a big problem, because if that's happening too much because of our high leptin levels, this is causing an inflammatory response. Now, when we're sick, when we're fighting something, that's great. We want our immune system to do that. However, when our leptin is high and it's doing this all the time, this is one of the reasons why we are going to now have compromised immunity, but also that chronic inflammation in the body. So those aches and pains, the low back pain, the knee pain, the hip pain, the shoulder pain, whatever it is, can be related back to that leptin resistance, and now your immune system is compromised. The other thing that happens here as a cascade of this is that it depletes our vitamin D levels. Now we know how important our vitamin D levels are, of course, for our immune system. And this is why people, and you may know somebody, and it could be a family member, it could be yourself, when certain things hit us over the last few years in terms of getting sick and having our immune system really had to fight things off, people who tended to be overweight and maybe had metabolic syndrome, which is usually, like we know, can be related back to what's happening with the leptin resistance, that this is something that definitely we want to make sure that we are optimizing our leptin signaling, because there's a correlation between being overweight, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, leptin resistance, and not being able to fight off some of those big viruses and the colds and the flus and those things out there, if you know what I'm saying. So this is really important. Again, another reason why we've got to get this leptin resistance under control. Now, last week we talked a little bit about tips, how to fix that leptin resistance. So I hope that you can refer back to that. One tip, eat a big breakfast. We're going to be talking about that when we get to intermittent fasting today as well. We're talking dirty fasting today, so that is coming up. But guess what? It is quiz time. Okay, so for everybody who's here for the first time, we have a number of quiz questions throughout the show. So it's very interactive. It's not just about me sharing information. It's a very interactive show. So I want you to get ready, because you got to be quick on typing in your answers. And everybody who participates is going to be able to potentially win a prize. And this week we're playing for the VitaTree Nutritionals AccuBlood Sugar Balance. So we thank our sponsors, VitaTree, for sponsoring the Dr. Janine Show. That's how I'm able to come here every week and talk to you and to educate you through, of course, social media. So we thank our sponsors, VitaTree. Thank you so much. This is what you're playing for. I will be announcing last week's winner as well, so that's coming up in just a few minutes. Okay, it is quiz time. Are we ready? Are we ready? Is everybody ready? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, here we go. Let's see the first question. Okay, you got 30 seconds once you see that question come up. Fill in the blank. Blank resistance is a common cause of lower resistance to infections. We talked about this. Fill in the blank. I want to see your answers. Get going right now. You got 30 seconds on the clock. Okay, let's see. How's everybody doing? Ooh. Yes, yes, yes. Blank resistance, I even mentioned it in today's show as well, is a common cause of lower resistance to infection, so lowered immunity. Okay, I see a lot of good answers coming in. Started off a little slow, and I think both answers would be correct. So a lot of people said insulin resistance. What I was looking for was actually, of course, let's reveal, Leptin resistance, yes, it's something that's really important. So if you don't know what that leptin resistance is, definitely you're checking out my content to educate yourself. Look at my tips, how to fix your leptin resistance, really, really important. And there's different blood tests that you can take as well that are an indicator that perhaps you've got some leptin resistance. And no, most doctors have no idea what we're talking about, okay? So that's why I like to educate, and you've got to do your due diligence. You've got to do your own research. And even if you asked your doctor, I want to check my leptin resistance, a lot of them just will look at you with blank stare, okay? So I'm just saying, okay? Now, I don't have anything against doctors. I love all doctors, but it's just, you've got to educate yourself and empower yourself over your own body. Okay, I do want to congratulate last week's winner of the VitaTree Turmeric Curcumin. It was Genevieve Houlat. Thank you for participating and congratulations for being our winner last week. Amazing job. Okay, everybody else has a couple more opportunities in today's show to win that prize. So make sure that you're quick, and another thing that you're actually paying attention to the content that I'm sharing, because that's a little hint. That's often where we are getting our information from. Okay, our quiz questions. All right, so we asked a question a little bit earlier today as to, do you cook with olive oil? So we did a little poll, and here are our results. So this was just earlier this morning, just like an hour ago. 60% of our 803 votes, yes, cook with olive oil. So I wonder if that's you. Put a 1 in the comments if that's one of you. Okay. Sometimes 21%, and no, 18%. I'm actually shocked at this, that people do not ever cook. 18% of who we polled, everybody out there, said that they don't cook with olive oil, and I wonder why. Well, I've got some exciting information about cooking with olive oil right now, because we're going over to the kitchen, and let me just enlighten you a little bit based on what the research says in terms of, are we able to and can we cook with olive oil? Now, we will be coming back, and I will be going back to Lucy in just a few seconds. We're talking about our adrenals and stress. Really important information there as well, so stick around for that. But did you know that extra virgin olive oil has a higher smoke point than what you would ever think? Now, and most studies actually suggest that extra virgin olive oil can be and range from 350 to 410 degrees, okay, which is going to encompass most types of cooking, and even going up as high as frying, because some of the research shows that up to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, which is well above your frying temperature, is usable for a good quality olive oil. Now, remember, we did talk, and we can come back to it towards the end of the show. We talked about some of the attributes of a good quality olive oil. If you're just tuning in now and you missed that list, make sure that you request it towards the end, and we're going to bring it up again. But let's go through some of the smoke points of different cooking oils, because and this was actually surprising information to me, because there's so much misinformation out there that says, no, you should never cook with olive oil. Well, it's not necessarily true, and let's look at why. Okay, so we're going to be talking about dirty fasting as well, so that's coming up, but let's look at this. Okay, so the smoke points of different oils. Now, this is interactive as well. It's not a quiz question, but it's interactive, okay? What that means is I want you guys to help me fill in some of this information here. I want to see where everybody's at. Let's see if you can guess some of these. Okay, so the first smoke point, the highest one. What type of oil, fat, has the highest smoke point at 520 degrees Fahrenheit? Let's see who can answer this correctly. I'm very curious who knows this information. Oh, I see it. Authentic, you've got it right off the bat. Yes, okay, 520, it's refined avocado oil. So I hope that a lot of you are loving your refined avocado oil. Yes, get a good quality one. Make sure that it's organic as well. Great for cooking at high temperatures and frying. Okay, let's go to the next one. Good job, everyone. 450, what would this be? Anybody have a guess for 450 degrees Fahrenheit? I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. Do I have it? Do I have it? This, I could give a hint. I could give a hint, but I'm not going to do it. I want to see somebody say this, please, because I know certain cuisines, and I know a lot of people are from this part of the world who use this traditionally. Okay, here's the hint. In their cooking, yes, 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 verdusuki. Yes, you got it, ghee. So clarified butter, ghee at 450, so really great for cooking at high temperature. Okay, number 3 is 350 to 425 degrees, and maybe even higher. Which one is this? Okay, which one is this? I'm not going to give you the hint on this one. All right. Thank you for the follows. Thank you everybody who's here today. Thank you for double tapping your screen. I know you're trying to get your answers in. And thank you for all the likes and the hearts and all those things that come in. Yes, yes, yes. I see those answers. Yes, there. You got it. A few people, Susan Carr, C.C. Duarte. Yes, a lot of you have it. Otera. Yes, Otero. Yes, of course, it is extra virgin olive oil. Remember, and all those attributes that we talked about. So organic, in a glass bottle, and yeah, really, really important. Okay, number 4, let's do another guessing game. 350, so getting lower down there. And a lot of you actually said this one a little bit earlier on in terms of smoke points for cooking. That's what we're reviewing today. We're talking about olive oil and fake olive oil if you're just tuning in. Things to look for and things to be aware of. Yes, Anton, you got it. This is virgin coconut oil. So again, a good quality oil. Make sure that if you can, get it organic and ideally in a glass bottle. I know most times it comes in plastic with your virgin coconut oil. Try to get it in a glass jar. Okay? And number 5, our last one that we'll talk about. This is one of my favorites. I've done different posts on this one. 300 and 350 degrees. Okay, what's this one going to be? Anybody else? Any more guessing? Come on, let's get our answers in. Yeah, I'm waiting. Anybody have it? Okay, 3, 2, 1. It is, I didn't see it yet. Yeah, some people said it earlier on, which I was surprised about. Yes, when it's clarified, here's the hint, when it's clarified as ghee, then it has that higher smoke point. When it's not clarified, yes, Morgan has it. Of course she does. Here we go, butter, yes. Awesome job. So butter, of course, at 300 and 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, it's interesting because there's research now behind the whole issue with the olive oil. Let me take the olive oil with me. Because in 2018, they actually did a study, and this was the ACTA, Scientific Nutritional Health Journal. And they tested a number of different types of cooking oils and found that extra virgin olive oil was the most, and let me enunciate this, the most stable cooking oil and produced the least amount of harmful substances when cooked at a higher temperature. And it even outperformed the avocado oil and the refined coconut oil. Did everybody hear that? I mean, if you need to replay this video when you watch this again, this is really important information. One of the reasons that olive oil, a good quality one, all the attributes that we talked about, is so important is that it's got the polyphenol. So of course we know when we cook things, it changes its structure, it can release some more toxic, byproducts, not the best thing. But olive oil, because it's got those antioxidants, those polyphenols in a high amount, and that's why I always say a high quality olive oil is to your better health, because it's going to protect against some of that, what's happening in those byproducts in the act of cooking. Isn't that interesting? So this is something, again, that's why I like to look at the research, that's why I share the research, and that's a pretty recent study, 2018, on the beneficial effects of cooking with olive oil. Okay, so is this new to a lot of people? Yes, absolutely, it was to me as well. So amazing information. Please make sure that you're subscribed, you're following. Thank you to everybody who's here today. I see all of those hearts coming in. It's great to have you here. I'm Dr. Janine. Love to have you here. Okay, so that was our conversation about cooking with olive oil. Now, I do want to call out all of my lovely, lovely followers, subscribers, everybody who, just shares some good news. And this is our viewer spotlight. So we like to really, focus in on someone every week. And this week we chose Carolyn's testimonial review and comment. And Carolyn said, just wanted to thank you so much for educating us. I'm taking better care of myself and others are giving positive comments to me. So congratulations, Carolyn. I'm so glad that you are, able to take even just a little bit of the information that I share on social media or here on my lives, in my Q&As, which of course we have tomorrow. So please make sure that you tune in tomorrow as well. And we're going to show that slide in just a second. But thank you so much, Carolyn, for sharing that good news. And please, everybody, please tune in tomorrow. So on Wednesdays now, we've opened up another live with myself, and you can ask me questions because I can't always get to all your questions during the live show on Tuesdays. So Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can tune in tomorrow. Ask away, ask your questions. I do my best to answer, everyone's questions, and we have some time together on Wednesdays now, which is amazing, which is live. So please tune in tomorrow. Okay, now let's go over here because let's talk about the adrenal glands. And I don't know. I'm just going to run. Okay, the guys didn't know that I was going to do this. Let me run to Lucy for 1 second because I want you to see really quickly, again, with the adrenal glands, just so that you can picture this in your mind. Then we're going to go back over to the board. But here's the thing with the adrenal glands, and we have some very sciencey kind of information coming, so don't be scared off of that. I like to simplify things, but your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys, and this is really important because in times of stress, this is where your catecholamines and your adrenaline and your cortisol levels, you've heard about your cortisol levels being out of whack. You know that you've got adrenal stress. You know that you're stressed out. Well, your adrenal glands have a lot to do with, in times of stress, you want them to work on your behalf to give you the energy. But at the same time, what can happen over time is that you stress out your adrenals, and now you're tired all the time because your adrenals like, oh, I'm tired. I can't do it. I can't pump out those hormones any longer. But there's an underlying mechanism here, which a lot of people don't know about, and it's called pregnenolone steal. And this is going to increase your cortisol even further, decreasing your other hormones. So this is, again, linked back to that leptin resistance that we talked about earlier. But our hormones are made from cholesterol. And cholesterol is where we're getting our pregnenolone, but then we're getting our byproducts of testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone from cholesterol first. Now, what happens in pregnenolone steal, that ideally, in a great case scenario, our hormones are going nice and evenly so that we make our testosterone, we make our estrogen, our thyroid hormone is implicated here as well. But with pregnenolone steal, what do we see those arrows doing? Preferentially, your body is going to make more cortisol. Okay, and you can now, this is called the pregnenolone steal because that pregnenolone is being stolen over to make more cortisol. And this is a problem because this will further upset your leptin resistance and deplete your testosterone, deplete your estrogen, and you're really ruining your adrenal glands. And it was linked back to the leptin to begin with, okay? So this is another reason why fixing our adrenals is one part of it, but underlying this and underpinning this is fixing our leptin resistance as well. So the next time you hear someone talk about adrenals, you now are educated as to the fact that this is linked back to what's going on at a deeper level with our leptin levels, okay? Is everybody loving this? Okay, so but to learn more about helping our adrenals, I've got a video on that. So if you haven't yet seen this video, let's take a quick look at that video. You're gonna love this. 3 adrenal fatigue tips. Let's take a look. Here are my 3 adrenal fatigue tips. So if you are suffering with your adrenals being out of whack because of your stress levels, we know that the adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys and they can run into difficulties, especially when you have something called pregnenolone steal. And what that means is that your body is going to preferentially take all of that cholesterol that your body has to make cortisol, your stress hormone. And now you're not going to be making your other hormones properly, like your estrogen and guys, for the testosterone. So my tip number 1 is decrease your overall inflammation. Inflammation is going to worsen your leptin resistance and worsen this pregnenolone steal situation. The second tip is fix your leptin resistance, which means stopping eating right before bed, see that early morning sunlight, and do some cold therapy. That will help as well. And the third tip, take some ashwagandha. It's a great adaptogen, great for that stress and for the adrenals. Follow for more natural health tips. And there you have it. So I hope that really helps you. Again, I've got a ton of tips on fixing leptin resistance, so just search it up. You can go into the search bars now. In most of the social media platforms, just put my name in, Dr. Janine Bowring. Even if you put Dr. Janine, think I know it will populate. And put in leptin resistance, put in adrenal fatigue, put in headaches, put in digestive issues. We'll talk about maybe poop in a second, but yes, we'll talk about those things because that will help you to put that into the search bars and you'll be able to search that topic that you may be looking for. Now, if I don't have a video on something that you want more information about, please put it in the comments of my other videos and put it a few times so that my team alerts me, and when I'm reading comments as well, I can see that, oh, we need to make a video about this, and we definitely do that. In fact, most of my videos are because of requests from my followers that you wanted to learn more content on these different platforms. Okay, awesome, awesome. Now let's talk about dirty fasting. Now, what is dirty fasting? Dirty fasting, and we will be talking about some of the things that can go wrong, that you may be doing wrong when you are doing intermittent fasting. That's going to come up in a second, but let's talk about dirty fasting. Do we have any guesses what dirty fasting might mean? Here's a big hint. Well, if you are doing dirty fasting, there is a period of time when you, of course, you're not eating. And the way that I like to do my fasting, if it's a prolonged period of time, is with dirty fasting, I allow myself to have some coffee. Now, some people that are true fasting aficionados, they're going to say, no, you can't have anything, you can just have water. That's not me. I like to make my fasting a little bit easier, so I do allow myself to have coffee, of course. I add in a little bit of grass-fed cream just to make it a little bit pale. Who's doing intermittent fasting and who's done dirty fasting before? What can we put in as emoji for dirty fasting? I don't know. I'm thinking on the spot. Maybe a coffee cup? Yes, put your coffee cup in the emojis. Good job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are and have ever done dirty fasting with the coffee, yes, exactly. Okay, do I see any coffee cups? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, I'm going to continue to watch that coming in. But yes, that dirty fasting I do allow. Now, you're not adding any sweetener in here because that sweetener is going to be a problem. You're not adding sugar, you're not adding honey, you're not using agave. You may, if you have to, use maybe some stevia. You could put that in there to be still allowable because it's not going to raise your blood glucose levels, your insulin, okay? That's the whole essence of fasting, is that you're keeping your blood glucose levels low, okay? Hit that subscribe button. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in today. Again, make sure that you tune in tomorrow really quickly. Tomorrow at 1 p.m., we're going to be here again, and I'll be answering your questions because I can't get to all the questions in the live show, so please tune in tomorrow. I'm so excited to talk to you tomorrow. And keep your questions for me if I wasn't able to get to them today, and I will try to answer some questions at the end of today's show. But if I didn't get to you, then make sure you pop in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can't wait to speak to you then. That's going to be really fun. Okay, so dirty fasting. Just give me a sip. 1 second. We're at quiz question number 2. Is everybody ready? Excuse me, I'm not allowed to do it. When I'm on TV, I'm not allowed to do that. Can't drink, can't do anything. We're a little bit more lax here at the Dr. Janine Show, which I love. Okay, because, yeah, it's good. All right, we're going to quiz question number 2. Is everybody ready? All right, this is, if you're just tuning in now, you may not know this answer, but if you've been here for a few minutes, and when we talked about olive oil just a few minutes ago, you're going to know this. Okay, true or false? Quiz question number 2. You can heat a good quality olive oil. Remember, we're playing for the AccuBlood Sugar Balance from our great sponsors at Vita2 Nutritionals, who sponsor the Dr. Janine Show. We thank them so much. Is everybody ready? Okay, everybody get your answers in. All right, you've got 30 seconds on the clock. True or false? This one I think is pretty easy. Okay, we've got 18 seconds left. Everybody's getting their answers in. Sunny, Shereel, Malzam. Is it Delilah? Yes? Keshra. I see all those answers. Terry, Corey, Batty, Licious. I like that handle name. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Everybody got their answers in. Please hit that share button. And thank you for all the hearts coming in as well. Hit that tapping, whatever you guys do behind the scenes. I know it's all different on different platforms. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, Santa Ana Luna was not here earlier because it says you're not supposed, she's asking, you're not supposed to heat olive oil. Well, here's the answer. The answer is true. So if you're just tuning in now, I even shared a study that you can look up in terms of in 2018, they actually discovered and they really looked at the byproducts after cooking different oils, and olive oil did the best in terms of being the healthiest oil to cook with. And yes, even to fry with. Yes, absolutely. Isn't that interesting? Okay, and to a lot of people's shock, because a lot of people don't realize that information. That's why I do what I do, and I love doing it because I love educating you. Okay, now let's talk about intermittent fasting and doing fasting wrong. A lot of people are doing intermittent fasting wrong. Now, we will have our next quiz question is coming up in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere for that because you might win a prize. Okay, so what are some of the side effects? Yes, we can maybe have some negative side effects with doing intermittent fasting in the wrong way. Here's the guess for the first one. Okay, let's reveal it. What is weight gain? Yeah. So if you're doing intermittent fasting in the wrong way, you may experience weight gain, okay? And one of the reasons is that if you are having that last meal, it's like the last supper, you're having that before dinner, and then you're fasting your breakfast, wrong. It's wrong. It's something that we talked about last week. So this is not optimized for especially if you're trying to lose weight, it is not optimized. Okay, number 2 is, shall I bring out, yes, the constipation. So do you have poops that look like this? Are you doing intermittent fasting? Maybe you're not losing the weight like you're trying to lose that weight. Maybe your energy isn't great. This could be a potential side effect if you're doing the intermittent fasting wrong, okay? Is the constipation because you're not having that healthy breakfast to stimulate the day. Number 3, increased stress and adrenal fatigue. Yeah, by not having that breakfast, all of your circadian rhythms are not optimized for the day. We just talked about, a few minutes ago, we talked about adrenals and that pregnenolone steal. So you do not want to be feeding that system and raising your cortisol levels. Okay, so this is important as well. This can be affected by your intermittent fasting if you're not doing it in the right way. Please hit that share button and subscribe. Please follow as well. It's so great to have you all here today. Thank you so much. And I love the fact that you're here because there's a lot of new people here today, and I know there's a lot of questions coming in. Thank you for the shares. I know Jerry is sharing madly behind the scenes. Love you for that. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow as well. And remember, we're here every Tuesday for the Dr. Janine Show on Tuesdays. And Wednesdays now, we have hashtag AskDrJanine. So start using that hashtag on your social media platforms, no matter where you're at, so we really can flag your, inquiries. And if you've got, questions or comments or, you want to learn more in the next show, make sure that you're using that hashtag. So tomorrow we're tuning in for a Q&A with myself. I'll answer your questions because I know you've got a lot of questions, especially after today's show because there's a lot of new information. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I hope to see you then. Okay, let's continue with our list. Another side effect of doing intermittent fasting wrong is, of course, bad sleep. Your sleep is not going to be optimized, especially if you have that last supper and you're going to bed with that full stomach. That is not going to be great for your sleep and your melatonin. Your melatonin can only be secreted in that low insulin state, meaning lower blood sugar. If you're eating before bed, I don't care what it is. Well, I have a few exceptions. I have a video on that, a few things you can eat before bed. You can look that up. But your sleep will be compromised, okay? So not optimal. And number 5 on the list, which goes along with eating before bed, especially too much in the wrong foods, is heartburn. I should have added to the list another one I was just doing research on yesterday, sleep apnea. Also very much correlated to eating before bed. So you don't want to be doing that. I have a post coming up on that, okay? So yeah, I hope everybody learned that. That's the famous poop platter. Hey, if you're here for the first time, that's the famous poop platter. And yeah, I like to, I don't know, I find it's good to have a visual sometimes with something that we are supposed to be doing every day is pooping, of course. That's why we bring it out and that's why we talk about it. Okay, I do want to thank all of my super fans. So there's so many of you who are so generous throughout the live shows, throughout the week as well. You've donated so much. And I'm so grateful to all of you because that and your support helps for the Dr. Janine Show to continue, that I can come out here and speak to you all every week. So thank you so much. Truly, truly grateful to you all. You're very generous. So thank you to all my super fans. Amazing, amazing. Now, we are going to the beauty set. It's already that time. Okay, so let's pop on over here to the beauty set. And this is what we're talking about. So back to the intermittent fasting really quickly. The optimal way, and this is something that we talked about last week, if you really want, if you're doing that intermittent fasting wrong, meaning, and I just want to qualify this really quickly before we do our cheek building muscle exercise for that natural facelift. If you're doing that intermittent fasting wrong, you may be skipping your breakfast. And this is, I find, how most people do intermittent fasting. Now, if you haven't first fixed your leptin resistance, your insulin signaling, your pregnenolone steal, your cortisol levels, your adrenal fatigue, if you haven't fixed all that first, then it's not recommended to skip that breakfast. And even going forward, I mean, this is something that I used to do. I used to do the intermittent fasting, skip my breakfast. Didn't always feel great. My inflammation went through the roof, and I had a sore back all the time, sore knees and hips and all these things, and I was working out, but I shouldn't have been that sore compared to now after fixing my leptin resistance and not doing that. And fasting, if I'm gonna fast, I fast my dinner, and of course I do dirty fasting, which is what we talked about. And what does that mean? Where's my coffee? Please, thank you. Aren't I demanding? Yeah, so here, I just want to show you. It's not because I'm going to drink it right now, but here, thank you so much. It's the dirty fasting. That's how you can get through, that period of time in your fasting phase when you're not eating food. If you want to do the dirty fasting, if you're a coffee lover, I'm not saying to start drinking coffee if you don't love it, but that dirty fasting can help, and that's what helps me to get through that fasting phase, okay? And just by the way, I'm off the caffeine now. I only drink decaf coffee for a period of time since the 1st of January. So I don't know, I'm gonna let you know how that goes. I've got some videos coming out, what happens when you come off of caffeine, which you may have seen already because it's amazing in terms of some of the benefits that I've actually experienced with having less caffeine in my already hectic and crazy life, okay? So hello. If you're here for the first time, please put a 1 in the comments. Thank you, Sweetness, for the gifts. I see that coming through. Amazing. So great to have you all here. Okay, we are in the beauty set, as you can see, and I love in every show to share something, of natural beauty, a tip, something that I've learned over the years that I find is really beneficial to help to do things naturally, to help to lift the face and sculpture the face and keep that youthful look. All right, so this is called a cheek building exercise, which is so amazing. So I want you all to do this along with me. Guys, girls, everybody's doing this with me because you kind of look goofy doing this. So the first thing you're gonna do is mewing. So if you don't know what mewing is, it's putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth. And that's the natural position throughout the day. If you want to optimize, especially your jawline, your cheeks, the structure of your face, is to keep your tongue at the roof of your mouth. So there's going to come a point now when I'm going to not be able to, so let me explain everything first, because when I start doing this, I won't be able to talk and show you how to do this, okay? So your tongue goes to the roof of your mouth. Everybody do that now. And if you can apply a slight pressure to the roof of your mouth and a little bit forward, okay? So that's how you can optimize sort of the jawline and the look of the jawline. So everybody's doing that, you're mewing, and you can look this up. I've got different videos on mewing. Okay, then you're going to open your mouth and you're going to roll your lips over your teeth. Okay, please hit that share button, everyone, because I want everybody to, thank you, Vicky, Kiki, thank you for sharing, and I know a lot of you, thank you, you put those ones in the comments, awesome. Okay, thank you for sharing. I know, Jerry, thank you for sharing, amazing. Okay, so then we're gonna roll, and I'm gonna demonstrate in just a second, we're gonna roll our lips over our upper and lower teeth, and then you're going to engage these muscles. So we see the muscles here, the zygomaticus minor and major. And this is a great exercise. So if you have very deep nasolabial folds, if you find as you're aging that your cheeks are actually becoming down and they're sort of becoming more sunken and shallow, then this is a great exercise, because what we're doing now is we're going to stretch. So we're going to pull here, stretching these muscles up so that it lifts the entire face, helps to smooth out the nasolabials, okay? Can even, so when you're lifting here, what happens here, the jawline even helps to be lifted as well. Okay, so is everybody ready? So tongue at the roof of the mouth, you're gonna curl like this. And then I like to hold the sides of my face at the same time, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna focus on squeezing this muscle. So it's almost like you're doing a bunny nose, but you're not using these muscles here. You want to focus on using the zygomaticus, and let me just show you, and then I'll come back to talking, okay? So I like to hold my skin nice and taut so that I'm not causing other wrinkles and crow's feet as I'm doing this, and I'm gonna use my mirror here as well. Okay, so here we go. So holding everything nice and taut, mewing. Can everybody see that? I hope you can see that. I hope you can see, and I hope you're trying it at home, because don't let me look ridiculous all by myself, okay? So let's try that again. So tongue at the roof of the mouth. You're gonna curl your lips around. I've got nice bright red lipstick, you can see, okay? And then you don't have to, some people like to do this with an O kind of mouth. You don't have to do that. As long as your mouth is open, and then you really have to engage these muscles. And you're gonna do 10 repetitions ideally, okay? Everybody do this together. Here we go. I hope you can see that, and I'm starting to sweat just doing that. Okay, 10 repetitions, you're gonna rest for a few seconds, you can really feel that happening, and then you do that again. And I hope that, so here's a little aside, so when I'm driving around town, at stoplights, I start to do this, and then I kind of look over, hoping that, because my windows are not as tinted as they should be when I'm doing this, because I kind of look over and I thought, oh, that's just not a good look. I should not be doing this when I'm driving. So I try to refrain from that now. I do this in the evenings, I do it in the morning, I do it at my desk when nobody's around, because yes, it does look ridiculous, but it's all in the name of beauty, which you're gonna love. Okay, does everybody love that? Give me some thumbs up. Thank you so much. That is the cheek building exercise. So you're gonna do 10 reps. Take a rest, do 10 reps again. If you can do this, once a day, fantastic. If you can do it a couple times a day, you will start to see. It is amazing how you start to build up these cheek muscles. I know a lot of women get injections and things to be able to sort of poof up the cheeks. You don't need that. This is incredible how this will build those zygomaticus muscles. Amazing, amazing to poof up those cheeks and helps. Yes, Jerry, yes, love, love, love this. I'm so glad that this is helpful for you, which is amazing. Okay, so now when we continue, here we go. We're at quiz question number 3 already. Okay, so remember, we are playing for the AccuBlood Sugar Balance from our great sponsors at VitaTree. We thank them for making the Dr. Janine Show possible in the first place. This is your last quiz question for today. Everybody get your answers in and do your best. This is pretty easy, I think. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow as well, which we saw there. Ask Dr. Janine, start using that hashtag. Tune in tomorrow for our live Q&A so I can answer your questions. Okay, make sure that you're subscribed, you're following. Let's go. Quiz question number 3, true or false? Are estrogen and progesterone come originally from cholesterol? Let's see who was paying attention when we were talking about that pregnenolone steal. Okay, everybody get your answers in. Good luck, everyone. And even if you don't know, just put your answer in. Okay, we've got just about 10 seconds left here. Everybody get your answers in. All right, all right. Let's see. And maybe some people are just tuning in now, so congratulations for even just trying to put the right answer in. And of course, make sure that you've got your answers in. I'll stall for a few seconds. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, awesome job. Let's reveal. Of course, the answer is true. Yes. So remember that pregnenolone steal, high cortisol levels, that stress, that inflammation, that leptin resistance, your body is going to make more and more cortisol, which increases that inflammatory response, shuts down your thyroid. So let me grab that, because that is something that we didn't even talk about. That's something that maybe we can continue that conversation. So I'm going to add that to next week's show, okay? Our thyroid and how this is related to our leptin signaling, our leptin resistance. So whether you have like super high overactive thyroid, or what's I find very common for women, especially if you've had children. So, I've had 4 kids. I have 5 kids altogether. I've had 4 kids. My thyroid became an issue after having so many children, got very depleted, and I'm sure it had to do with my stress and everything else. But then I finally discovered that it was my leptin resistance that was really the driving force of my own thyroid being low. And that's why I've gone through this whole journey of really delving into some of these extraneous, issues in health and what nobody's talking about. And that's why I like to share it in my shows here at the Dr. Janine Show. Okay, so we'll talk about thyroid, how that's related back to that pregnenolone steal, the adrenals, and of course, your leptin signaling, your leptin levels as well, and why it's so important to get out in nature. And that's why I wrote my next book, which is in the final stages of editing right now. I'm super excited, so please make sure that you're following. You're on, our email list and all those things that we can reach out to you so you get first dibs on my third book now, which I call The Beast because it's very science science-based, but very practical at the same time. There's a lot of research that went into it. And that's why I'm able to share all the information that I do in my live shows. Okay, so that is coming soon as well, so make sure you are on our list. And if you're just tuning into today's show, so far we've talked about dirty fasting, and now you all know what that is and why I love it. And some of the things that we do wrong in terms of intermittent fasting. We talked about our immune system, how that's related to our leptin resistance. We talked about fake olive oil, and the fact that you've got to really, and we do have those lists, so if you want me to call them up, I can bring it up really quickly, what to look for in a good olive oil, as well as adrenals. And we also talked about the fact that we can actually cook with olive oil, which a lot of people simply don't realize. So yeah, amazing, amazing. I know if you do have a question, I'm going to try to take like a couple questions really quickly as well. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And okay, overactive thyroid, so that leptin resistance is one of those causes for that overactive thyroid. That is a great question, BU1313. So that's something that we will continue that conversation next week, okay? So make sure you tune in next week. Again, we're here every single Tuesday when I'm able to do a live show. And in the studios that I'm here at 1 p.m. tomorrow. We also have the Q&A, so make sure that you tune in on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Tuesdays is at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And okay, Majida has a question. Can you have milk during dirty fasting? Just a hint of cream in my coffee for dirty fasting is the way that I do dirty fasting. Now everybody may do their dirty fasting a little bit differently, but milk, a little bit higher sugar count. So in terms of, you know, true fasting rules, that would be not so allowed. So maybe if it's just a splash of milk in your coffee, that would be okay. I prefer the cream because it's higher in the fat content. It's not going to raise blood glucose levels, and that's one of the big, you know, attributes of fasting. And to get into that autophagy, which we talked about last week, is to make sure that you are keeping your blood sugar low. So yes, yes, yes. Another question about cream. And yes, so I use like a grass-fed cream which is great. Hello from Greece, nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Amazing, amazing. And okay, Jill is asking, what is dirty fasting? Dirty fasting is allowing yourself a little bit of coffee. If you're a coffee drinker, if you're not, then you're not going to start dirty fasting just for the fact that you want to start, you know, having coffee. No, if you're a coffee drinker, I allow myself, and tea. A black tea would be considered part of dirty fasting as well, because I think that question came up earlier. Barbara Ann Marie is asking about oat milk. No, don't like oat milk. And I have videos on that, why I don't like oat milk. There's no protein. Often there's a glyphosate issue if it's not organic. And they put fake vitamins, which I'm definitely against. If you've seen any of my content, you know that I'm the queen of, you know, calling out fake vitamins. So that is something that, yeah, you can check out and put in the search bar. Again, if you're not sure about certain topics and you'd like to see sort of my standpoint on it, put it in the search bar, my name, Dr. Janine Bowring, and you're just going to search your topic in the different social media platforms. And most times I don't know, how many videos do we have now? Like over 3, 4, 5,000. There's a lot of videos. Some of them are older, so don't laugh. But yeah, most topics we've talked about. And if we haven't yet talked about a topic, make sure you put it in, you know, the comments so that we definitely do some videos on that. Reza is asking about vitiligo. Yes, I do have videos on that, so make sure you check them out. You can. That's one of those things that you can search, vitiligo, Dr. Janine Bowring, in, you know, the social media platforms, and you'll find the videos on that. Amazing. Marlo is asking about Marlo Janine. Hello. Another Janine spelled the same way. Is stevia good? Yes. Stevia is good. If you tolerate it well. Some people don't, but I like stevia. I think it's fine. It can have an aftertaste, so you have to find the right one, and that's not mixed with other types of artificial sweeteners. Day Anderson is asking about candida and mold. I do have a whole series on mold. It's a little bit older now in terms of my videos, so that's something that we could come back to in a topic. I hope my friends, my team behind the scenes, thank you, are jotting that one down about the mold. We can come back to candida. Candida is a huge thing. Parasites too, another thing that I talk a lot about, which is amazing. Okay, yes. Oh, does MCT oil break your fast? Technically it's a fat, so it should not if your metabolism is okay. here's the thing, some people's metabolism is not great. So yeah, I know a lot of people like to do sort of the bulletproof type of coffee, adding MCT oil into the coffee. Some people say it breaks the fast, some people don't. It all depends on your physiology. So the answer is it depends. Technically it shouldn't because it's a fat, but again, you don't want to do anything to be adding too many calories into the fasting phase. That's why the coffee is kind of allowable in your fasting phase. Too many calories in, typical fasting sense is not the best thing. If it's just like a tiny little bit, it depends on the dosage, how much you're taking as well. That's going to make a difference as well. But that's a great question. Yes. Okay. And I know, yes, people asking about ketones, and the best way to stimulate ketosis, of course, is to keep your blood glucose levels low, and also going into the fasting phases and doing the fasting phases in the right way, which we talked about again last week. We talked a little bit about this week as well. So having your good breakfast, fasting your dinner is the optimal way to do your intermittent fasting. Now, if I didn't and I wasn't able to answer your questions today, please make sure that you tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be back again to answer your questions with the live Q&A, which is a newer thing now. So on Wednesdays, please make sure that you tune in. And next week's show, we're going to talk about psoriasis, skin conditions, how that's related, and what the research is showing as that's related back to the leptin resistance. So that's really important. We'll also be making the viral flaxseed mask, which supposedly works like Botox. Well, I'll let you in on those secrets next week. So make sure you tune in next week for the Dr. Janine Show on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also check out my long form video, 10 causes and symptoms of leptin resistance. So if you want more information about that leptin resistance that we keep talking about in the lives, you really want to delve into that, please check out my long form video, which is going to be dropping a little bit later today, 10 causes and symptoms of leptin resistance. I hope that you check that out. And thank you so much to everybody who tuned in today. It was so great. I see all those hearts still coming in, all those likes, all the love, all the shares, all of my new subscribers, all my new followers, everybody who tuned in for the first time or you've been here for years. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Janine. It was great to have you all here. And have a great week. Have a great day. And I'll see you tomorrow as well. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow.